Okay, so Nick Maillet, you have joined us here today, taking you usually behind the scenes producing the show, but we have you here today to talk about playing Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Now, I'm unclear. What is this game and what is it about?
Yeah, it's a game with a very long name, by the way, and I'm gonna have to say that a million times when I record VO right after this. So it is a sequel side story to the last Like a Dragon game. But this one, you wake up on an island and you've lost your memory. There's a kid and a tiger, and then you just go beat up a bunch of pirates. And it is the wackiness of Yakuza cranked up to 10.
Yes. That's saying something, because it
Yep.
already is pretty far up there. Now, when you say you, this is, of course, for the first time, Goro Majima is the sole protagonist,
Yep.
which is something a lot of fans have been waiting a cool minute for. How does he control differently? Like, what is the gameplay like here?
Yeah, so it's like a beat 'em up, kind of like the older Yakuza games. So it's not a JRPG. He has two fighting modes. There is what's called Sea Dog, where he dresses up like a pirate and fights with pirate weapons, or as they call it, pirate gadgets, which are just swords and a gun. And then there is Mad Dog, where he is in his like usual traditional clothes and he just fights with a knife in his fists. Its combat is actually a lot harder than I thought it would, but it's so much fun. And you can also summon like whales and other sea creatures to fight for you as well. So it just anytime I thought, all right, I figured it out, something really stupid would happen. And I'd go, well, this is just a great game.
This is deeply refreshing, because like this series, they always get weird in the margins, and the big huge sort of flagship entries are always like, hey, here's the main story is very serious, and if you're only focusing on that, it looks like a pretty cut and dried crime opera type of thing. And then you also find out that there's like a crazy taxi food delivery mini game, or that you have to like romance a crawfish or whatever. Like there's a lot of karaoke. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens in here. And in more recent years, I feel like the main entries have gotten even bigger, and we've started to get these sort of smaller side stories. The last one being Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his own name, which is somehow an even longer title than this one. I read somewhere that this was originally being they were going to have the Gaiden in the title here. Gaiden means a side story in Japanese, I guess. But like which kind of is a cool idea. Like I feel like it's a lot of annualized releases have done this here and there, but this feels kind of like Yakuza Blood Dragon in a sense. Like it's very much this is a smaller game, but they're getting weird with it. And the man who erased his own name felt more like prologue DLC than anything else. Like it didn't really feel particularly silly. Like Kiryu was undercover as a secret agent, but it wasn't like overtly your James Bond. It was kind of like, he's just sort of, he looks like a salaryman or whatever. But in this case, it's Majima as a pirate, which is completely wackadoo. Did you get a sense for like the structure of the game at all? Like, cause I feel like with pirate stuff, like do you have a boat, a hub, or what's the deal?
It's very open, kind of like how like Black Flag was, where you get on your pirate ship as we're seeing on screen, and it is like a pirate ship. You can also go explore the pirate ship and talk to your crew, and they have like real people stories, and then you're like, cool, I'm gonna sing karaoke now, and then everyone has to like dance with you. But yeah, you can sail around, you go to different islands. The one that we went to was called Madlantis, and it's like a pirate island off of Hawaii. And there's just like, they said that there's a lot of story beats and stuff, but I didn't really get to do that outside of this one salaryman that kept bothering me because he wanted to be a pirate, and his family's like, you're too old, even though Majima is like 60 at this point. It's very open. You just get on your ship and you just go around and board other ships, fight people, do whatever you want, really.
Now, Nick, I'm trying to prove a point to a friend of mine. Can you drive your car to where the pirate ship is and get on the pirate ship?
I think you can drive a go-kart.
Great. Okay, cool. That counts. Good. Just wanted to make sure.
So this is basically set in the same general vicinity as Infinite Wealth. Like it's near Hawaii, right? But like, did you get a sense
right after Infinite Wealth?
Okay. So like, did you get a sense if it's still got the same open or like overworld of like Honolulu, or is it like a part of that? Because there's like beach stuff here that looks sort of familiar, but like the the Yakuza series is known for kind of taking its locations and reusing them with stuff shuffled around a lot.
Yeah, like you can go on back to Hawaii, essentially in Honolulu. Interestingly enough, you're not just like a pirate when you go there, and like we're seeing on screen right now, I didn't get to do a lot of story stuff, so I don't know where all that happens and how you actually get your ship. It was kind of like, all right, you have your ship now, go do whatever you want. So I was mostly focused on like pirate stuff.
Okay, right on.
It does look like you can go back.
I don't know, like I don't like pirates, but I like Majima a lot, so I was kind of like shaky on this one, but I'm definitely gonna play it because it looks like a really fun time. Like it looks like a good, just goofy, like it looks like they took the silly stuff that I like and kind of condensed it into a standalone thing. And from what I've heard, it's like Like a Dragon Gaiden was like 10 hours or something, and this is supposedly around 16-20, not counting a bunch of bonus stuff in there. Yeah,
that's about what they said. Yeah,
that seems cool. That seems manageable. Also, like there's so many stupidly big games coming out next month that sounds kind of like nice and refreshing, bite-sized type of thing.
If you don't like the pirate look, you can also give Majima Crocs and like regular clothes.
He wears Crocs.
That's his pirate outfit.
Man, that dude really like, he runs the gamut of like the coolest possible shoes and the not cool shoes, the worst ones. I love his little like metal toed cowboy boots. Nick Limon, what's up?
I was kind of taking a look at. They brought back the beat 'em up stuff. No, Nick, go for it.
No, I was just saying, taking a look at all of the like gameplay trailers that we're seeing right now, and it really does look like it is not recycle, but like it's reusing both Honolulu from Hawaii, as we've already been talking about, but also the castle from Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, which makes sense since that was off the Sea of Japan, and it seems like we'll be able to travel all the not the seven seas, but one very large one as Majima. And like as a pirate, I'm kind of wondering, is he actually a pirate, or is he like Ichiban Kasuga, who just sees, like, you know, at the beginning of the original Like a Dragon, he loved Dragon Quest so much he just sees the world through the lens of an RPG. So is this a world where maybe Majima loves pirates so much he sees the world as a scallywag would? I don't know. I'm so interested in how Yakuza plays with fantasy and how it bleeds into reality.
I thought that until I went to Madlantis and its entire.
And then he's just a pirate.
Yeah, and people are walking up to me like, "Oh, you're a pirate. I really want to be a pirate too. Can I join your ship?" And then he's like, "I don't know." And they go, "Well, I have money."
It's got to be the eye patch. That's got to be it. But also it is combining a lot of the gameplay mechanics that we've seen from the more turn-based Like a Dragon games. Like, you know, there's no magic in these games, but we do have allies, and it looks like you're able to summon deities to help assist you in battle, which is fairly new to the Yakuza game. So he might not have a pound mate, but it is something very similar to that, and how it works in a more action-y setting as opposed to an action RPG.
I'm getting more excited about this the more we're talking about it. That was Nick. I was about to ask the same thing, like the whole sort of, okay, so like Majima already had a few screws loose, and this is the entire like crux of this is that he has a head injury and wakes up on the beach and he has amnesia, and so he's like, I'm a pirate. Like, did he like see the eye patch and goes, I must be a pirate if I'm on the beach with an eye patch? Who else would be on the beach? I don't isn't there like a whole thing where he's recovering his own memories?
Yeah, and apparently throughout the game his memories will start to come back and he'll realize like, oh, I'm actually not this weirdo pirate guy. But you know, I guess it's one of those things like, well, the pirates were the journey made along the way or something. Yeah, it's really weird. Every few minutes I thought, well, it can't get any stupider, and then something really dumb would happen. And it's like, all right.
They just showed the customization options on the ship, and I guess I forgot that you can put like anime girls on the side of it, or like leopard print, or like make a pink hull. The whole thing is hilarious to me. That's like one of my favorite things about Forza is that it's like this, you know, it's partially a very serious driving franchise, but then you play the open world ones, and there's just like people drive by with like the Scooby-Doo car, and like I love when games give you really stupid options to customize your vehicle like this.
Yeah, you can also customize all the people working on your ship, and ship combat is really fun. There's also a dedicated drift button with your ship, so you can drift on the ocean.
That's somehow the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm in. Sold. That sounds great.
That's amazing. See, it's stupid, but it's video gamey enough to feel good, and that's really all that matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seriously.
So the Yakuza games, they always have like one kind of management type thing. It's usually the thing that sounds the least interesting, and it's the thing that will wind up hooking you the most, like addictively. Like at the, you know, for instance, like the business management in Like a Dragon, or the real estate in Zero. Like, what did you get a sense of like any of the sort of mini game activities that, you know, might be the most time sinky?
Yeah, it looks like your ship.
Okay.
you just have to go and talk to people and be like, here's some food and like here's a hot dog, and it makes the guy happy. And,
that's the,
certain people like, oh, I'll join you if your ship level is high enough.
just giving people hot dogs on the ship. Just
You can. I sat there and just made a bunch of hot dogs and was handing them out to people.
wait, seriously? I'm so into this game. That sounds amazing.
Game of the year.
It really does seem like an evolution of the Coliseum battles that were in The Man Who Erased His Name, where, you know, in that one you would recruit people to join your like battle royale team and duke it out in a Coliseum, whereas this one it looks like you are recruiting people to your pirate ship, leveling up and building those relationships and getting unique characters with unique abilities that make your combat like suit your play style essentially, which is pretty exciting because it's super limited in like a Dragon since it's a Coliseum, but when you design a whole game around it, that feels like way more refreshing and exciting with possibilities that seem pretty endless because in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, you could make friends with just about everyone in Honolulu, so I'm curious to see what that looks like when you're on a pirate ship.
I love that so much because like there's always something where you're gathering a team in these games. Like there's always some, like in, you know, there was the one where it's like you're running Majima's construction company and I think Kiwami 2 or whatever. Or like there's, you know, you're trying to, you know, staff up your Senbei rice cracker factory and you're like, I'm gonna hire this giant Roomba and this child and they're gonna manage my amusement park down the street. Like I love that it feels like really the dumbest possible, you know, interpretation of Mass Effect 2, where you're like, I gotta gather my crew, we gotta get the band back together. But in this case, the band is like, you know, a crayfish and like a dominatrix or what. Like it's just very silly. So I'm stoked about that.
I love this Mario Kart mini game where you can get a bazooka. Like, come on, that's so much fun.
They have fun.
You can also take that bazooka on your ship and then in combat jump off the helm and run around your ship and shoot people.
Of course you
it's
can.
just insane.
No, I really enjoyed the last Yakuza game. I thought the Hawaii setting was awesome. The turn-based stuff, while being about as quick as you can possibly be for a turn-based game, is still turn-based. And I don't know, the old school like beat 'em up River City Ransom kid in my brain wants something a little more quick. So yeah, I'm all for this. It reminds me I need to go back and finish the last one. I somehow, Max, I think I put like 20 hours into that game and maybe got like 2/3 of the way into it. So it's
massive.
It's very easy to get distracted. Like there's that whole Animal Crossing island mini game that I spent like 10 hours playing. There's a lot in there. So yeah, if you're like me and you've sort of been on the outside of this franchise for a while, jump into the last one because to me like it felt like a good starting point. Some of the older ones are great too, but you know, it's a lot of the same environments, and I dabbled in some of those, and this was the first one where like it felt like a new proper big new entry.
Infinite Wealth is probably my favorite one to date. I think it's definitely my game of the year for last year. If for like a starting off point, I feel like a Dragon is maybe the best one because that's the introduction to Ichiban. Mm-hmm. And some other characters show up, but like, yeah, I don't know. Infinite Wealth it's tricky because it is pretty much a standalone story, and there's a lot of new characters getting introduced, but there is still like plenty of callbacks to earlier stuff. And like if you've been playing since day one, there's plenty there. But like, you know, I'm always trying to picture like what is this like if you've never touched one of these games, and they can all sort of be approached like they do like a decent enough job of being like, hey, you know, if you want to find out who this person is, like read their bio and this. You know, read this blurb, walk up to their gravestone and watch a cutscene or whatever. They
all do a really good job of like contextualizing everything you kind of need to know. And I think the appeal of wanting to play all of them is just you start to understand like the past history with them. Like it might not be vital to the story, but you know that this action is really significant to this character because of X, Y, and Z. And so it is always tough to recommend a place to start. But I do think Infinite Wealth is a really good one because it really tells you everything you need to know about all of the main characters.
It's really fun.
And Nick Limon, you touched on this before, but yeah, I'm just consistently applauding this studio for being able to put out games consistently. Like it's really cool, and I think that like, you know, I'll say it, like I think if another studio recycled assets and environments as much as these guys do, they would get a lot of hell for it. Like I think if, you know, like we've seen like Ubisoft use like the Far Cry 4 map and they're like, it's Far Cry Primal now. And people like destroy them for it. When they reuse a tree in Call of Duty, people give them hell for it. For me, like, I guess like the older I get, the less I mind stuff like that. I you know, I love a good bespoke asset, but anything that gets us new games at this quality, at this consistency is, I'll take it, you know? And like, again, I don't know what's going on under the hood behind the scenes. I don't know what studio culture is like over there, but it seems like they don't have a ton of turnover. It seems like they take care of their folks, and they keep making great games that get good reviews and the audience loves them. So yeah, do that, do more of that. Every studio do more of whatever they're doing over there.